And good evening. It is Tuesday evening on this Veterans Day, November the 11th at 6 o'clock. Meteorologist Chris Smith here on this very cold day today. We bring in meteorologist Dan Nyman, who is also cold today.
Cold right now. I will say, Chris, earlier when the sunshine was out, just not having the wind, things felt so much better outside. Even though it was still in the 50s, I kind of didn't hate it. It felt all right.
It did, and that's what we kind of talked about yesterday, that today, once we got through the morning hours, it would feel a lot better than yesterday, even though technically it's probably just a few degrees warmer than it was. It's that wind that was the difference.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think if this afternoon was manageable for you as you get out there tomorrow, things really going to feel like a treat. And one of the nice things is, even as we get the onshore winds this week, at no point is it going to be uncomfortably humid, just enough to keep the mornings from getting that real wintry chill back in the air.
Yeah, we'll look at dew points probably into the 50s, not the upper 60s to near 70, which is kind of where we were before. Hey, Kim, good evening from the Calhoun County Airport.
Nice.
Checking in, a Foxtrot
95.
95.
Been there several times.
Okay, let's talk about, we set some records this morning over into the Western Panhandle. Pensacola setting a record. They were down to 33. That broke the old record of 31 back in, let me check my notes here, let's see, that was 1926. Mobile hit 28, which broke their old record of 31 set in 2011. So Pensacola breaking the record from 1926, an old-time record there. And you see that 31 right there. And it went pretty much according to plan. Most of us near the coastline, within a mile or so, avoided the freezing mark. And most of us a little bit farther inland saw freezing temperatures, and most of us saw 20s, 28, 25, 28, 27, 28 up into Funiac Springs. So a cold start, but we did warm up this afternoon. We saw those temperatures climbing up into the 50s. We were into the mid to upper 50s, even touch 60 over at Northwest Beaches International Airport. So the warm-up has begun. As we look outside right now, we do have clear skies. It's cold, but notice the bay is a lot more still there over in the Destin Harbor, looking out towards the Choctawhatchee Bay there in the Marlar Bridge. No one's brave enough to be dining out right now. Obviously very cold conditions over on Panama City Beach. Temperatures dropping down through the 50s into Panama City. And as you look along the waterfront there and at the camera there at Destination Panama City, just a little bit of a ripple there along the waterfront, nowhere near as choppy as what it was before, as those winds were much stronger last night and earlier this morning. So as we talk about what's happening on live Doppler radar, freeze warning in effect, basically Jackson County, Calhoun County, inland Gulf County, inland Franklin County, Wakulla County, Liberty County, Gadsden, and Leon County. So basically the eastern part of our area has a freeze warning in effect, and it is for a very light freeze. Now, a lot of us will have the potential, I think, for some frost tonight, so don't let that fool you. Over the course of the day, up into the northeast, lake effect snow machine continuing to crank up, bringing a bunch of snow up into parts of the northeastern United States. You see some of the favored areas for some of the heavier snow downwind from the lakes, where we saw upwards of a foot of snow in spots over the past 48 hours. Much quieter here at home and no snow. Temperatures right now currently falling back down through the 40s over most of our region. Winds are very light. Clear skies, light winds. That's the recipe for some very cold temperatures tonight, as you'll see across our area. The one thing I want to draw your attention to here, look at this. A little bit of cloud cover. This is moisture beginning to return to our area, and that happens overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, and that's why I think we'll see a big range in temperatures. So we'll have near freezing, like in Marianna, but say down along the coast, South Walton, Okaloosa County, probably about 45 to 50 degrees. So you'll drop maybe quickly the next few hours, and then actually your temperatures will rise while you're sleeping tonight as we see these dew point temperatures continue to increase. So for the rest of tonight, temperatures, look at that, dropping down into the 30s across our area under mostly clear skies. For more on the cold weather, as well as some cool pictures today. Had some folks talking about what was going on with the Bay.
Yeah, the Bay.
These are all just Dan Nyman.
The Bay definitely felt the impacts of those same winds that were bringing us that cold feel outside. As we continue to get into this evening, not going to see that become as prevalent, especially by tomorrow. However, for a brief period of time today, the water getting pushed out of some of those coastal waterways and out across the Gulf too. Saw a similar effect. This photo from Ron Miller over in Grayton Beach. It's the lake right here. It's not the Gulf anymore. You see the offshore winds right there really settling things down. And as we push that water away, you saw even some of the nearshore sandbars there becoming exposed. And that was evident in many locations, especially with how breezy it was yesterday afternoon. This kind of the lasting impacts from that. Here's Gale over at in the Cove area. And you see once again a lot of exposed dirt there where normally there should be water. This is a look at Grand Lagoon, where a lot of people have probably learned this lesson. Pretty shallow, as you see there towards the center of the lagoon. The Sea Screamer folks posted this on Facebook earlier today. A lot of scars there, Chris, from boats, prop strikes there. But ultimately, the water level dropping significantly across the bays. And now, as we get that onshore wind, the rest of this week, we will see it return, I think, in fairly quick order. It won't be a problem, especially by tomorrow afternoon. We'd love to see your weather pictures, though, on the free Panhandle Weather app, iOS and Google Play stores here. You just scroll down on the homepage to the Submit Photos tab, and you'll be able to share your pictures with us here at Panhandle Weather and then find them in the broadcast as well. As we get in through the rest of this week, big changes coming to the forecast, Chris. Of course, temperatures no longer going to be talking about those lows in the 20s and 30s or highs in the 50s and 60s. I don't think we're going to get back towards the summertime feel, but certainly when we get back from the break, we will show you temperatures that are much closer towards the upper 70s, warmer, still plenty of sunshine, a whole lot to look forward to.
At least.
Yeah, we'll get close. Full details on that forecast.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused.
A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out that self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and your mental health.
Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Your piece of land demands the very best equipment. Kubota equipment. The #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. with professional-grade mowers, versatile sidekick utility vehicles, and compact tractors that get it done right. all backed by unmatched dealer support. Talk to your dealer today to schedule a demo.
Now is a great time for a new Toyota, where you can get 1.99% APR on a new Camry and get $500 in holiday cash. Get 3.49% APR on a new Corolla and get $500 in holiday cash. Get 1.99% on a new Tacoma, plus $1,000 in holiday cash. And 1.99% on a new Tundra, plus you'll get $1,000 in holiday cash. Visit our lot or browse online at Panama City Toyota.
Now, from your trusted team of meteorologists at Panhandle Weather, this is your evening forecast update.
Welcome to Panhandle Weather live at 6 o'clock this evening. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining myself and meteorologist Dan Nyman there. Plenty of cold weather right now, but things are going to change here pretty quickly over the next probably 12 hours, to be honest.
Yeah, things are going to feel different. And hello to some of the folks in the chat as well. Dr. Shane having us giggle a bit there during the break. It looked like Moses was out there today moving the water.
I did. What, you walk from one side of the bay to the other?
It was just about possible. I guess if you don't care about your shoes, you could have easily done it. But Moses is going to find warmer weather further south, I hear, because we won't be seeing that as much tomorrow.
No, we're going to see some pretty big changes here moving through the next 24 hours. Although we could see an inland freeze tomorrow morning.
Yeah, definitely going to be keeping an eye out for that. Here's a look at your headlines, in fact, as we get through the next 7 days. The freeze returning for some of us tomorrow morning, but the rest of the week, we will feel that warm up pretty quickly out across the Panhandle this weekend, trending drier. We had talked a little earlier this week about maybe an iffy rain chance, but it doesn't look as robust or impressive as far as the forecast for that. Had the Veterans Day activities earlier this morning. Thanks to all of our veterans who have served or are currently serving. Worth mentioning as well, Chris, on the holiday. Still cold, of course. You were treated to some pretty chilly conditions, bundled up. Morning events earlier today. The rest of this evening, as we talked about, we will soon begin to see at least some coastal spots in the western Panhandle, just seeing a few clouds returning. Now you see it's not all that much. As you get up towards the afternoon hours tomorrow, a lot of mostly sunny skies, but at least a sign of the return of moisture and a sign that things will feel better and better outside, because again, we're not talking about the return of some real sticky air, just enough moisture to keep us from falling cooler than, say, the 50s. Future winds out there still going to be calm for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I think all a similar sort of synopsis here. High pressure settles itself across the northern Gulf Coast, and as a result of that, even with that onshore wind developing, we're going to have a hard time finding more than, say, 5 or 7 mile per hour winds across our coastal waterways. Still a freeze watch for areas, or freeze warning, I should say, for areas east of 231 tonight. You'll see temperatures flirt with the freezing mark, but not nearly as cold as last night. Towards the coast, back into the 40s. The western Panhandle inland, Crestview to Funiac Springs, back towards Milton as well. Temperatures in the upper 30s, so still a chance of frost. Probably not going to see that freeze, though. Temperatures tomorrow afternoon really turning the corner here. We're back into the 70s inland, mid to upper 60s for coastal spots, and you'll start to notice the stickiness really returning by the time you get up Thursday morning. Look at the color contrast here. Green colors towards the coast, signifying temperatures back inside of the 50s. Still pretty cold in other spots. Blountstown probably still trapped or mapped towards the Wednesday morning low, but ultimately 40s and 50s out across the Panhandle will certainly be a slightly nicer feel. And then as we continue through this week, temperatures keep rising. Mid-70s for Thursday, Friday, a similar story. Gone, we will see this northwesterly wind in this troughy pattern. Soon afterwards, we will see a ridge of high pressure sliding back in from the west. That'll help us to spur up some warmer temperatures once again. And when it settles in, it doesn't look to move all that quickly as well, heading into the upcoming weekend. Looks like we've got that pulled up. Chris, should I bring you back in here really quickly?
Gotcha.
There
you go.
Looked like you were going to be showing something here really quickly.
No, well, I was thinking about, well, you know what? Here, let me go ahead and show you. This is one of the, I was going through some of the Facebook posts here, and this is Carla Cantrell, and this is Crab Island. So the same thing was going on in the Choctawhatchee Bay, thanks to that northerly wind where, I mean, Crab Island is kind of an island, but usually it's underwater. But this one, it was definitely exposed there. Thank you very much, Carla, for sending in that picture. Now, let's talk a little bit about the cold weather that's moving out and the warm weather that's moving in.
Yeah, I was going to say real quickly there, Chris, if that sand stayed exposed any longer, I think there'd be a real estate sign up on it.
Probably would.
It would become beachfront housing pretty soon. So good thing we're going to see the water fill back in across the area. But once again, your pattern has been persistent to start off this week. We had that trough across the East Coast, basically this big dip in the jet stream right here, and that has resulted in us tapping into the real cool air mass north of the Great Lakes region and drug that down towards the northern Gulf Coast. All of this, though, incrementally, you might have already noticed if you watched with us yesterday, has shifted a little further east. And then behind that, you have the inverse effect, that rising phenomenon in the jet stream, and trapped underneath of it, much warmer temperatures. We're not talking about record-breaking heat by any stretch of the imagination, just more comfortable heat as we get through Wednesday, and especially off into Thursday. Your rain chances over the next 7 days, though, remember, it's high pressure moving in. So while things will feel nicer and moisture returns, we don't have any source of lift to return rain chances. That's at least the case through Saturday. And you'll notice as well, incrementally, we've dropped rain chances just a bit through the latter half of the weekend and early next week, where there's opportunity for some changes in the forecast. We certainly do need the rainfall, but I'm not holding my breath for any significant rainfall in the forecast area. Although maybe if all the come together, we could still see maybe a small chance for a Monday round of thunderstorms, very isolated in nature. That's pretty far down the road, though, to talk about. Ultimately, the pattern change, like we talked about, here it is in motion. You see that big ridge starting to stretch towards the eastern part of the country, and then it kind of stalls in place. Look back west towards the Four Corners states. You've got a cutoff low right there. These are never in a hurry to move around. They're kind of displaced from the jet stream, so there's nothing dragging them in either direction. When that sets up shop, it's usually a pretty good sign, Chris, that things are not going to change for us pretty significantly anytime soon. The pattern kind of stays in lockstep, and we stay pretty bored here in the Weather Center.
Yeah, a few days ago, this trough was trying to make its way a little bit farther to the east, but looks like it's just going to kind of get hung up here across the Four Corners, which isn't unusual. It does happen pretty frequently, and that they're kind of slow to eject from the Four Corners and move east. So for us, the rainfall chances going to probably not return very quickly. Dew point temperature is dry right now, but watch as they climb up into the 40s and then 50s over the coming days. So you will notice an uptick in the humidity. It won't be as cool. High pressure is going to remain in control of our weather across the southeast. We widen out the picture, and there you see your system out to our west spinning there. But through Sunday, notice it's still hanging out there, hasn't made any progress to the east. And so as we look across the southeast, it looks fairly quiet, just a little warmer and a little bit more humid. So I think all systems are go for your weekend plans. Look at the temperatures. We're close to 70 tomorrow, and then we're well up into the 70s and even close to 80 degrees by the end of the weekend. So we'll be going from below average, way below average, to a little bit above average for this time of year. Low temperatures, again, flirting with freezing for inland areas tomorrow, mainly east of 231. Coastal locations will stay in the 40s, and you're probably getting close to the 40s right now, but it'll be one of those things, it'll level off, and then, if anything, temperatures will actually go up overnight, and then you see the temperatures in the 50s and then eventually the 60s toward the weekend. 7-day forecast, nice little warming trend that you see here on the map, indicating those temperatures up into the 70s at the coast. Notice the rain chances taken out of Sunday and pushed over to Monday and Tuesday, and even then, very fringe rain chances as we make our way. Let's see, that would be next Tuesday, is a week from today, so that would be the 18th. There you see just small rain chances in the forecast, so mainly warm and dry forecast once we can get through tonight. Another cold one tonight, Dan, but again, not as cold as what it has been or what it was this morning. It'll be flirting with freezing inland, no freeze at the coast. Matter of fact, temperatures will be actually a good bit warmer at the coast tonight.
Yeah, and I already was kind of enjoying this afternoon, so no complaints from me for the forecast in the upcoming week. Also happening now, that big geomagnetic storm. It's going to be making a lot of headlines across the country, and I think for interior portions of the country, it will be pretty noteworthy. Although for
pull-
us,
Let me pull that up on the iPad.
yeah, if you can grab that up here in a second on the touchboard. Put a little thing on the website about it, had a long look at some of the data that was coming in. Of course, forecasting, the northern lights like we saw last May is extremely difficult. There really just isn't that much good science about it as of right now. It's kind of like forecasting tornadoes where you can find the ingredients for it to happen, but not necessarily pinpoint exactly when or where it will happen. Ultimately, from what I've gathered, I don't think it's something worth getting your hopes up. I mean, sure, if you don't mind disappointment and you want to go outside probably tomorrow night, it's maybe something you could get lucky with. But when you compare last May 10th, I believe, to what's happening outside right now in the top of our atmosphere, not quite as strong. There is good deflection there as far as moving it towards the south, but last year was a G5 geomagnetic storm, this a G4, and some of the other indices are not quite as high too. And I think, we are pretty far south. You have to take everything and put it basically off the charts in order for us to see something as incredible as last year.
Yeah, and you can see Dan wrote a story here on the blog. You go to the top part of the page, you see it says blog, and it's the top story right there. Will the Northern Lights really be visible? There's been obviously a lot of chatter on social media for it, and Dan kind of digs into some of the information they told you, and then and also a little bit more. But at least we have a photo gallery of some older pictures, because we're probably not going to see anything close to that. And Dan and I were talking about that. I mean, I've been doing this 30 years, and I've seen the Northern Lights like twice, once in Macon and once here. So the reality is, it's not very common. It's kind of like when people ask about snow. It had been 35 years since we'd seen snow. I mean, it's possible, but it's not going. Don't expect for this to become like an every year occurrence or everyday occurrence.
Yeah, definitely. When you have it last year, you hope for it to become common, but I think the rarity of it is one thing that makes it so special. And I apologize, I didn't realize that story was so long. Really got into the weeds on that.
Well, okay, so here's the other thing that we can mention here, which was that I forgot last night. We could show the video since we're talking about like cool celestial stuff. We could talk about. There's the cat. Hold on. Where's the? I was trying to think where the. Whatchamacallit, here, let me find it real quick. The meteor last night. A lot of folks saw the meteor, and I have it. Never mind, I have it right here. So let me go ahead and pull it up. And this came from Todd Hughes, who has a couple Wyze cameras. So don't go toilet papering Todd's house, but these aren't like expensive like cameras, but he's in Weewa, so it's a little darker out there, but he's sending like meteor pictures all the time. The Leonid meteor shower peaks early next week, I think like the 16th, 17th, so that would be like Sunday, Monday. So it's not unusual that you would see some, because meteor showers aren't like a defined from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That's when they all are. It's kind of like a ramp up and then ramp down. So anyway, Todd captured that and had a lot of folks seeing it on social media. But like my daughter saw it last night on the way home, and then I had some other people mention that they saw it as well. And that was. Can you all see that there?
Oh, let me move you back. I'm constantly kicking myself when I see this stuff. I don't look up enough.
Yeah.
I think you get into these modes where you're just focused on day to day. I need to take some time to just go outside and look at the sky, because we've been missing a lot here recently.
We tell the kids all the time, when we're in the car, it's like you're buried in an iPad, you're missing stuff. And that's the thing, if you're buried in stuff, you kind of can miss some things sometimes. And plus, when you learn to drive, you're not going to know where you're going. But if there's a geomagnetic storm and your GPS doesn't work,
I'm sure
bring it all full circle.
Yeah, they're getting to the point where they might not have to drive, at least for much longer after they get their license, the way that cars are heading. But hopefully they still let me drive. Either way, I think we're droning on here at this point. Thanks for joining us once again this evening. And again, there is a chance tomorrow night for some areas, probably as far south as northern Alabama, Tennessee, dark regions, to maybe see some of the northern lights. But I wouldn't cross your fingers down here, although we certainly will post if we see it. We'll be keeping an eye out for it because that's our job.
That's our job. That's going to do it for Panhandle Weather Live on this Veterans Day. Thank you to everyone who has served. We appreciate you. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Stay warm tonight, but have no fear. Give yourself a couple hours tomorrow morning, and it's going to feel a whole lot different.
See ya.